Okay, so I think everybody has heard of the recent news of Sakamata and Fana graduating, but it really is like I did not expect to hear them graduating. I'm really like wow, that this has not been a great year in terms of how many people have left. Not even just Hololive, because we've lost Holostars members as well. Like Gunma. So it's kind of crazy, like how much people that we've lost, and also the increase in honestly conversations of talents talking about the disdain with the direction of management. I don't know the details of that. I don't know if it's just the direction that the company's going in, and that's just it differentiates from certain talents, because some of these talents have been in the company for a couple years, and within the company getting bigger, or over time, maybe since they joined at the beginning of their journeys, maybe their ideologies have changed a bit, or the sense of direction has changed. But that but I mean, like, to me, it wouldn't be that baffling if it was like, okay, it was like one or two talents, but it's like it's multiple talents, which is like, whoa, what's happening here, it's very like intriguing. But we have this video today, why Fauna graduated and the future of Hololive, by Ken here. So yeah, do check them out. But let's yeah, check out this video.
Going wrong at Cover Corp, or at least that's what people are saying after the
Yeah, what is happening? I'm really starting to wonder what's going on in cover. I mean, it's valid. It's valid to question this at
recent
this
graduation
point.
of Ceres Fauna from Hololive. This graduation announcement came as a big surprise to a lot of people in the
I was
community, including myself,
surprised.
because a lot of people did not expect Fauna to graduate,
I did
especially so
not.
soon after Chloe of the JP branch. Suffice to say, this was a very sudden graduation, and the reasons that are stated are very similar to ones we've heard in the past. Management. And of course, when things are left
Yeah, it's interesting. It is. I think most of the graduations I've heard, it's management. Like Aqua was like, wasn't it was Aqua also about like differences in like creative differences? I think that's what was said. Damn. Damn, like that's very interesting.
stated are very similar to ones we've heard in the past. Management. And of course, when things are left a little bit vague in this community, of course speculation is going to
Yeah,
run awry.
yeah.
So I want to take this video to
I mean,
really
it's hard because you obviously can't go into details. Of course not. You really can't. So I think there's always going to be that form of speculation, because because the thing is, like, when you're like, oh, because of management, there's so many like different ways that in direction that can go in terms of like people speculating about that. If it's like negative, or if it's like, oh, it's just creative differences or whatever, like people can take that and fucking run. So it's yeah, it can be very like speculative, and it's just how the internet is. I think so many people just they speculate, right?
discuss that speculation and sort of look at some of the facts really when it comes to sort of why people are graduating from Hololive, because we do know and there are stated reasons why these talents keep leaving, which is
Fauna will graduate January 3rd, 2025. She graduated because of disagreements in management. She wants to make the most of her remaining time and will stream up until her graduation. Will not go any way on her way affiliate such affiliate route. Yeah, so Fauna's like completely stepping around away from cover instead of what Arma's doing. So cover, as viewers, we don't really know what's happening behind the scenes. Please do your best to keep your employees happy and accumulate their needs and wishes as much as possible. That's true. Also, like, we really don't know. We really don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So I don't know. It's hard because in the sense of like I don't want to make like too much like speculative notions, because like it's just the truth. Like, we really do not know. I'm not leaving because I don't want to be here. Disagree with management. Yeah, that is really that the way she said that was very, whoa. Cover, please. We can't keep having our hearts break because of the same reasons. Please just do internal stuff to prevent this. There really needs to be a discussion about management and the direction of the company. Not saying management is bad, but there definitely seems to be a disconnect with where Cover wants to be heading to what the talents want to do now. Yeah, that's true. Because the fact that it's like it's multiple talents with this, like, saying this, it's not just Fauna, it's other people, and it's even some people like within still there have said stuff that they've been disappointed in by management.
Management and company direction. One of the problems that a lot of VTuber companies have, I think, is that they don't really have a clear sense of direction.
Yeah.
I think this is very evident if you look at a lot of the smaller corporations, but if we look at even the bigger ones like Niji-Sanji or Hololive, it's clear that they kind of want a best of both worlds approach when it comes to idols and having virtual streamers. At the end of the day, Hololive is a corporation with
100%
investors,
yes.
and investors want a return on their investment, and they seem to really want to cut out the fluff that really doesn't provide return on their investment. And I think a lot of these investors in Hololive probably want the company to shift more in the idol direction rather than having the virtual streaming part of it be sort of the main focal point for a lot of their talent. And Yagu seems to state from one of the interviews that he had that Hololive wouldn't be able to sustain itself without investors. So
Yeah, that could definitely be a idea, because some of these like talents when whole life, like maybe they do some of them do sing and are okay with singing, but it's in the aspect of maybe going in the direction of, oh, it's like more idol-esque and like more performative, and then it's like, oh, but I auditioned, I came here, and I'm a VTuber because I enjoy streaming and I enjoy playing games. And maybe for some people, if they went in the direction of like saying, okay, like you have to quote unquote not stream as much, or you can't do as much creative things in terms of streaming because we want you to do more idol-esque things, that culture innately can be pretty restrictive. And if your ideologies do not align with that aspect of like wanting to essentially like be a quote unquote idol, I think that can, yeah, that creatively that can make you want to potentially take a different path. So what did the Yaga say? We are pleased to announce that our company was successfully listed on the growth market of the Tokyo Stock Exchange today. We would like to thank all of our investors who have supported us. I would also like to thank all of our employees and their talents of their head work, and all of our fans for their support. Gratitude for being able to go public and continue the company. As a startup company funded by venture capital, we had no choice but to go public or sell. But we are grateful to be able to go public and continue the company, considering the fact that several VTuber companies have grown and the VTuber industry has been launched. Thanks to investments from venture capitals, I believe that the startup system has truly launched the industry. Yeah, I definitely, that's the thing. It's just in general of like all forms of like companies that have investors and they rely on investors. Kind of like there is elements of you kind of like there's always like give into what the investors want, and there is this sadly this hierarchy of us like, oh, we value what the investors want more than what you want, because to keep the lights on we kind of have to keep the investors happy, and that is a sad thing. But in corporations, it is how it is a lot of the time. um they care about the people that invest. They care about the people that give them money, and they're going to do what keeps them happy.
from one of the interviews that he had that Hololive wouldn't be able to sustain itself without investors. So appeasing these investors, of course, is going to be a top priority for a company that wants to remain afloat and sustainable for the long term. I think some people have some very interesting theories about the investors in Hololive, and some have more merit than others. But I think one of the things we can definitely agree on is that investors don't really care that much about talent
No, they
well-being, because as
don't.
far as the investors are concerned, as long as the talents are performing and getting the return on investment for the
Yeah, it's like
company and the
making
investors,
money.
that's really all they need to worry about. So there's just a disconnect of interest here. I mean, the company wants to sort of pay off the investors and also make sure their talent are happy, but the investors are
Because the thing is, the reality is, it's like, if you're like an individual talent, you're by yourself, like, hey, I'm not happy what's going on, and I'm personally like upset by certain things, and it is that direction, that certain thing is aligned to what the investors want. They will just be like, hey, we are okay without you, and that's the truth. Like, um or like in any form of like these companies, even if you are like the biggest talent, they would be like, hey, sorry, but we feel like we can survive without you because we can get more talents in, and there's still, no matter what, going to be at least some that will stay, and some that will be molded into our image, or their ideologies as a talent aligns with our ideologies and direction as a company. And that's the sad reality, is that I think just with a lot of corporations and companies in general, it's that they really don't care about you. Maybe to a certain extent they do, but not to the extent of what maybe you would hope your sense of value would be. Um, because at the end of the day, it's like, what's most important? It's making money. And I'm not like directing this like specifically at Hololive. I'm just saying that this is just how corporations are, just in a general sense. I feel like, that's the ideologies in a general sense. Um, Regardless of what company it is, what industry it is, um, they really are just obviously like that. They have to keep the lights on, they have to keep them going, and they're going to go in the direction they see the money coming in.
are just concerned about their return on investment, and they don't really care about the company itself per se, as long as it's returning value to them. And they don't really care about the talent as long as they're providing value to the company. Now, I'm sure you don't need me to explain why this is a problem, but I bring this all up to say that the investors definitely seem to be wanting to push Hololive in a certain direction that really doesn't represent what the talent want or what the fans want from Hololive.
Yep.
I think a lot of fans go to VTubers for the live streaming aspect more so
Yeah.
than the idol aspect.
Yes.
However, judging by a couple of clips that have come out sort of discussing the Chloe graduation, I think there sort of is a bit of a push for talent to sort of go in this idol direction a lot more than they might want to. With talent like Amelia Watson, it makes sense why she wouldn't want to really go in the idol direction. It really wasn't something that I think she joined Hololive for. And for Fauna, I can probably guess the same.
Yeah.
I imagine most people, when they apply to Hololive, really are kind of in it for the virtual streaming aspect.
Yeah, it's like they're in it because, originally I think a lot of these people, they're VTubers, they're streamers, right? And some of these people like Ame and like Fauna weren't really like singers. And obviously there's a lot of people that are singers, but even if they you're a singer and you like singing, it doesn't naturally mean that you want to be like a singer and a performer more than like a streamer. Maybe you want that to be more, leveled out, or more more like, hey, like I'm a streamer, but I will do performances, like, because a lot of these companies, they do have like 3D concerts, performances, but that's more of like a rarity, it's like a 1 year anniversary, it's a birthday, it's like a once in a while event, but going into this idol-esque sort of direction, it feels like these things are happening more and more, because I mean, it's the truth. Just naturally, I think that these performances, these 3D concerts make a lot of money, and maybe there is an incentive or there's an encouragement to have these concerts to go in that more idol direction. And for some people, it may just be like, hey, I want to be a streamer. That's what I enjoy doing, is streaming, it's playing games, it's talking to my chat. It's not the idol aspect being put above the being a streamer aspect of things. And that may be where some disconnect may be with certain people, certain individuals, because yeah, I think most people when they, apply to Hololive or Holostars, or they apply to VTuber companies, most of people, their streamers are VTubers, and that's mostly what they're doing. Or some people, maybe they make covers, they do karaoke streams. But how many people are doing like 3D concerts and being like an idol? It's not necessarily, I think, majority of the people that are being hired by these companies. You know?
And being the idol, concert performing, song producing type, that really isn't the main draw for a lot of people that really apply to Hololive. And
Yeah.
I don't think it's really the main appeal for a lot of VTuber
I
fans.
don't
I'm
think
sure
either.
there are a lot of VTuber fans that love the idol aspect of Hololive and think it's probably the best thing ever. But I think that's particularly on the JP side, and when we look at the English branch, I think a lot of the appeal really is in the virtual streaming aspect, where they build a connection with the streamer, they enjoy watching them play games, have fun moments, and really collab with their gen mates. That is the main appeal for me, and I think it's
Yeah.
the big appeal for
Me
a lot
too.
of English speaking fans.
I think that's also a good a good mention there, in the sense of because I don't know, because I think that I think there is some form of sense of idol culture in the West, but it's definitely different. I think it's definitely inherently different in culture, and I don't know if that same, like, yeah, m- fan base in wanting it to be like purely like idol-esque is like here as much. um I think, like, for me personally, I don't mind there being idle like aspects. I just think I prefer it where it's like, oh, like most of it, like say 70% of it is that just being funny VTubers that I enjoy watching, and then like, okay, they have birthday concerts and Holo Fest like once a year. Like it's more occasionally, it's more like occasional like songs coming out for like special events and for special occasions, like that in VTubing, where it's kind of been normalized, where it's your birthday, so you have you have like a song come out, like that sort of thing, or you have a cover come out once in a while. I think, like, it being like sort of spoon fed like slowly is what I like and I'm okay with. But it's like when it's like that takes that aspect of like the idol and performing and singing is put above the streaming, then that's where I'm like, oh, because I like this person for their personality. I want to watch them play games and stream. I want to watch them be a streamer.
As I'm not Japanese, I can't really speak to the interests of the Japanese fans, but I just know
Yeah, definitely. Same thing. Yeah, like, you don't like, you're not in the Japanese community. I'm not. I don't. I don't necessarily. I can't speak to Japanese fans.
on
So
the English side, that is the main draw from what I can tell. I think these talent went into Hololive with different expectations and different wants than what is currently the company's long-term vision. And that disagreement with management sort of created a conflict where I think a lot of these talents are starting to see that the corporation route probably isn't for them. I mean, let's be clear here. There are a lot of restrictions that come with being in Hololive.
Yeah.
You can't play certain games, you can't sing certain songs. There are restrictions to sort of how you can conduct yourself online. So I think when you
and let's just say this also, that's just being a corporation, like in general, to be like, also to be fair. But it's completely valid, I think, to, go into a VTuber company and then realize, oh, maybe this is not for me.
At the company's direction and you look at all these restrictions, and then you look at Doobie and then you look at Dokibird, I think it's pretty fair to say that a lot of talent are now looking at their corporations as a stepping stone rather than a thing that's going to be a long-term investment that they want to stick with. Freedom is very enticing for a lot of indies right now,
100%.
especially those that are tied into a corporation which they've been with for multiple years and have built an established fan base that's going to follow them to whatever new accounts they sort of build off of. We know this works, and while there may be some opportunities that aren't really afforded to the VTubers who leave their companies because they're not with a big agency, for a VTuber who really doesn't want to lean into sort of that idol direction or really get some big opportunities, that really isn't a big concern for them.
No.
But yeah, this really hasn't been a good year for corporate VTubing, to say the least.
No, definitely not.
Idol got bought out. We had these multiple graduations. Niji Sanji is a whole can of worms. But yeah, I don't really imagine that 2025 is going to be a better year for corporate VTubing at this rate, and I think it's going to probably start seeing some diminishing returns when it comes to retaining their talent, especially if they actually want to go into VTubing mainly for the virtual streaming and virtual entertainment aspect of it, rather than the sort of idle performance, sort of big
Yeah.
events sort of idea that a lot of these agencies seem to be pushing for, because that's what the investors want. Now, with all that being said, I think there's sort of a reaction to cover court, which is very reactionary right now, and I understand it, but I think a lot of people are really taking a lot of their anger out on cover corp in a way that I don't think is necessarily productive. Of course, if you do want Hololive to sort of go in the direction that really benefits their talent over the investors, I think there's a lot of work you need to do on that front to really make that happen, but I don't think we need to go about calling for Yagu's death.
What in the fuck? Holy shit! What is okay? I mean, this is the internet. This fucking people are just insane. People are fucking insane. Never do this. Never ever do this. You're insane. Like there's something wrong with you. Never do
For
that.
anything. Okay, I think that's a little crazy, and I think that might be pushing the line a little. And I don't think speculating about Sweet Baby Inc. is really helping either. But I think we need to take a very measured response to sort of the issue that the corporations are facing when it comes to not really fulfilling on the talent's interest or the interest of many of the fans that really watch Hololive. Not asking the community to really take a measured response to anything is a little bit of a big endeavor, but I think honestly we should be vocal about sort of our opinion on these changes in the direction that Hololive is going in.
I mean, I think that, sharing your opinion, criticism is always, I think, a good thing and it's fair. It's obviously just there's a line to it when you are saying that, oh, somebody should harm themselves or someone should get hurt or be harmed, then you're going too far and you need to log off the internet and go and touch some grass. But criticism, like that's the thing, that people there's the line. Criticism is not hate, right? Criticism is not harassment. It's when you start saying harassment or blind hate is where, or like two talents or two individuals, where I'm like, okay, that's not okay. But sharing like public disdain or criticism, I think is fine.
And I think JP fans probably should as well, if they really do think that the direction that the company is going is also not benefiting their interests, because they probably do have more sway than we do as English viewers. And I have heard on the Japanese side there is actually a lot of discontent with Yagu's sort of leadership right now, so maybe there might already be enough pressure to sort of make Hololive realize that maybe this isn't the direction they want to go. Even if they need to appease some investors, maybe they need to tell the investors that, hey, we know what's actually going to work for our company, and if you want your return on investment, maybe you don't want to actually push us in a direction that's going to lead to long-term upset with our fans. Not saying that's easy by any means, because investors seem to have their head in their ass most times and don't understand the consumers that make the product successful in the first place, and thus will piss them off endlessly.
I mean, because the thing is, the reality is, sadly, I think a lot of the time when investors invest, they don't know what the fuck they're investing into. Like they aren't like knowledgeable. They just have the money a lot of the time, so they don't give a fuck. They only care about the money or making the money back making a profit or making the money back, because they genuinely aren't knowledgeable in what's going on, or probably have a pretty baseline understanding of the fact. It's kind of like a hypothetical of esports. So esports getting bigger, then you have these traditional owners of sports teams. They buy esports teams, but they have no fucking idea or understanding of esports in the slightest, and so the team implodes because they do not understand the industry they're getting into, because they have no idea about gaming. They have no understanding of how an esports team works, differentiating from regular sports, and that's how things can go wrong. Obviously I don't know, of course, if these investors are out of touch or not. Obviously not. I don't know these investors, but I'm just saying, inherently in some places, there are a lot of investors who are sort of out of touch on these things.
till eventually there's no consumer left to buy their product. Anyways, that's it. I think I covered the bulk of what I think about this graduation and sort of what I think is sort of the causal effect of why a lot of these talent are graduating and why we'll probably see more graduations in the near future. Because as long as the talent and the corporation interests are not aligned, there's going to be problems that come up, and the talents, I think, are looking at the sort of climate we're in and realizing, hey, I can do this on my own and I don't need the corporation.
I mean,
Anyways,
especially like being in somewhere like Hololive and seeing like, some of the like people leave and doing so, well, you can 100% be okay on your own, 100%.
that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and let me know what you think in the comment section below. Sorry, saplings, I'm really sad for you guys, honestly.
Yeah, I've never really had to worry about fandoms during graduations, but I'm genuinely concerned for the saplings.
I
Damn.
really am. But hopefully you can find fauna on the other side, and yeah, peace out.
Yeah, I think fauna will be. I think fauna will be okay.
Little shrimp that's
But yeah, but no, it's definitely still sad, of course. Any saplings out there, I'm sorry. If you feel sad or whatever. Um, Clarifying a point I made about the push toward an direction by the company. Toward an idol direction by the company. My working theory is that while Fina did love being an idol as she expressed, I think there's an increased demand by the company to engage in such activities that exceeded expectations of certain talent who joined Hololive, as stated by Lapis in the following clip. Given that pressure to engage in events, performances, and other idol activities outside of just streaming and less intense idol stuff like songs, so covers, has been expressed to be a problem in the past for other talent, both former and present. I think it's clear this doesn't align with some of the existing talent's desires and expectations. I think that could definitely be some form of a reasoning that to me makes sense, but I don't know. Obviously, it's not 100% proven. This is just speculative, or it's just a conversation. None of it is like 100% factual, of course. But let me know down below in the comments. What do you think? Sorry to any saplings who are saddened by the news, but this might honestly, I don't even know if this is like specifically a whole life thing. I think this might just be like a kind of the direction it feels like with corporate VTubing. You kind of feel like corporate VTubing is just kind of going a bit downward, But anyway, so yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please consider subscribe and like to see more videos in the future. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.